Part 39, and we're going to start with Matthew 18, and there's going to be a lot of text thrown out here, and then Jesus is going to talk about castrated males or eunuchs, yeah, I think that's how it's pronounced. Okay, we're just going to start right here, and we're going to end up with one verse out of all this. Whatever you bind up on earth will be bound up in heaven. Not true? Not true. You don't get to take anything from earth to heaven. That part of your life is over. Okay? Whatever you lose on earth will be lost in heaven. Not true. I'm going to say that if two of you agree on earth about anything that they may ask to be done by them, our Father, and it will be done for them by our Father. We know that's not true. I mean, I myself, as our Father, do a lot for me, and I want more with what He's given me, and He's not. He says, "No, you already got enough." So I know that that's not a true verse, and it's not that Jesus wouldn't use the word "may" either. Where two or three have gathered in my name, I am there. Okay, just using the word "there" and putting it over here. How often will my brother sin against me? He cannot sin against your brother, okay? Sin is against our Creator's commandments. And so it's ridiculous that He forgives them up, so He can't forgive anyone for sin. And Jesus wouldn't be telling them that He could forgive them up to 7 times or even 70 times. That isn't, Jesus is the only one that can forgive your sins now, and Jesus would know this. Okay, this proverb right here there is a better one and more descriptive of what happens here. This is just a short version of it. And I'm going to remove it here and just understand that I know that the other one exists, and it's going to be there and not this. Because they didn't, because also they couldn't be sold along with their wife. They had a work prison that if they couldn't pay their payments, they went to a work prison to be hired. So that's pretty much more of it. That's why this one doesn't really, like I said, there's a better one that's more truthful. And here's a bunch more that's going to be taken out. Again, work prison, there's no slaves in Israel. Slave went out and found one of his fellow slaves who owed him 100 denarii. Like slaves got lots of money. That doesn't make sense. Said he'd repay him. He fell down and treated him. I will repay you. And he threw him into prison. But he has to work for it. You can't just say, well, he wouldn't be, another slave would not work for another slave. So this is kind of being ridiculously said. And again, there is another teaching by Jesus that also does this better than this. So, see, he handed him over to be tortured until he was repaid. You're tossed into work prison. And so the thing there is they weren't tortured. They're just waiting to be hired. So with that said, we threw out what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 verses out of 18. And that's not as bad as it's going to get. I'm going to show you a lot that doesn't doesn't belong. I don't see I need to teach this needs to be this way. See, this is where they're using this area as the word Galilee. I've told you that several times. Now you're seeing that here. Departed from Galilee and went to Judea, and I've named it Judah, and I've named it Israel. And by the Jordan River. Now there's something that's odd about that, because he's saying he went into Judah's area by the Jordan River. Let me bring this up a little bit here and load up, because I need to talk about when they were doing the boundaries. A lot of that text is missing. So when I was deciding where the land was owned by whoever, and this is the territories I came up with, and you have to have it coming down here, so there's very little down here is the connection. And I gave a portion to Benjamin here. But you also got to realize this area here, this is all desert. Hey, I forgot. This area here is all desert, okay? And like I said, it's rather non-livable. So there's a lesser. This is where they crossed the Jordan River. In what would I say? Where is Jericho? Is around here somewhere. So people did live by the river as a city, so they would have lived along the river as well, but they wouldn't have lived in the desert. But actually, this is not really that far. It's just all uphill to come from here up to here, like 2,000 feet, I think, something like that. But Jericho is down here. So you know that they were living off the what was growing along the Jordan River. So, but to say that he went into Judah by the Jordan, I'm thinking that should just said he went to Jericho. But right now, that is not going to be changed. It's going to say he departed from he departed from Israel, not Judah. What happened there? So, okay. Departed from Israel and went to Judah by the Jordan River. So it might be he departed from there and went to Jericho here, to be truthful, but I'm just editing this verse right now. And like I said, what I showed you, I know that I'm not speaking the truth here, but I can't put it together until I put the puzzle together. Okay? Or all the pieces together that are going to be like a puzzle when I start. And a crowd followed him, and as he was healing them. Now, this would be down in the desert, and I'm not thinking that, but if they went down to Jericho, then this makes sense. And one of our judges came up to test him, so now those that were living in Jericho, we now know that it says Pharisees, so I left the S there, that there was judges in Jericho. So don't know how many people were in Jericho, but they had their own judges, and they came to test him. And it's judges are the one who are seeking to ask him, is it lawful? Okay, for they asked him, for any cause at all. Well, any cause means at all, so don't need those words. And they're asking him if it's lawful, meaning by our Creator's words or commands. And he answered, he who created? Jesus is saying, he who created? No, that's not very polite and correct. He would say, our Father, or created man. And yes, it doesn't need to be from the beginning. He created man, male and female. And that's why I'm using the word male or man correctly. He created man, male and female. And even though I've added it, I just want to make sure you understand this is the definition that you'll find in Genesis as well. And they will marry, not cleave, but marry. Sharing their love was this act of the word marry. And then they were they were one, as Jesus said, and the two of them became one. Not one flesh, but became one. That whatever one of them done, they actually share in that wrong or in that good. This is why it's the male who takes the offering to the tent or house. If she had not obeyed one of the 12 commandments, he was to do the offering. If one of the children in his family did one, he had to take it. So that's why you don't see, that's what one you see a lot dependent on the male as the, what do I want to say, most responsible to fulfill our Creator's commands. Okay? Not that the females get away with anything. It's just that when our Creator set it up, it's talking about males bringing the offering. But here, Jesus is saying the two will become one, and I'm trying to tell you, show you that this is why anyone in the family sins, he's responsible to take up this sin offering to be forgiven. No longer two, but one. Therefore, YV, join them together and let no one separate them. Okay, that's all simple editing and correcting it to read very smoothly. And they ask him, why did Moses write? Not command, but write. Moses wrote a judgment for them. He didn't issue it as a command. He wrote a judgment. And from this judgment, you can't really say it's a command, but it's written by Moses. And Jesus would know the difference, because when Moses was commanded something, he was telling them it's coming from our Creator. But here we know it's Moses that wrote to give her a writing of divorce, not a certificate. That's too complicated a word for at that time. A writing of divorce to send her away. And Jesus answered them, it was not your hardness, but their hardness of their hearts. And Moses permitted divorce. See, that's not a command. Moses permitted by his judgment. He didn't seek our Creator's answer for this, so he wrote it on his own. But from the beginning, it was not to be their way. Yeah, their meaning when a male and female, after they're shared their love, they're married for life. This is their way. Whoever divorces their wife. Now Jesus is going to explain a divorce as accept immorality. Well, there are laws already written by our Creator that they would have been aware of to send the wife away. So, it's more or less not except for immorality. That doesn't fit it because I know the laws, and the laws stipulate many different things. Why and why not, they can't. But you'll find that in our Creator's hidden formats, text. YHVH'S Everlasting Promises is the title, and that's on my website. Marries with another female is committing adultery. See, if he sends her away and he still marries with another, Jesus is saying that he's still committing adultery. Even though she's gone, he's not to actually marry again, okay? So that's what Jesus is teaching here. And the disciples said, a male and his wife are to be like this, then it is better not to divorce her. It is better not to marry. No, well, I just stated he should stay, oh boy, oh, just a second, I gotta pause this. I hope that's the end of all that. So it is better not to remarry. Then he said, not all men can accept this, accept my command. So here, that statement, Jesus is pretty much giving a command as being the king, as your king. So this is what Jesus says: if the woman committed adultery, send it away. I myself am going to sit here and say that if a male commits adultery, the woman should have the right to leave that man, and then she too would fall under this, just having to use the different words from male to female here in adjusting this. But a woman shouldn't, because they're supposed to be together forever. And we know a lot of times the males do commit adultery as well. So I'm going to make sure that you understand that under Jesus's laws, the way I'm seeing it, it could be a male or female here. So said to men will not accept it. Yeah, I'll just leave it there and just let you know that one of the very few times that you're going to see me add to Jesus's words or the understanding of his words in a way that's not written plainly here. So there are castrated males born from their mother's womb. This is the name for castrated males, so you can't say they're born. They're this. They have no seed, so they're born that way. It's not that they're castrated when they were born, but that's the best word I could describe here instead of using the word eunuch or eunuchs from the mother womb. And there are castrated males who are castrated by men, and there are castrated males who castrated themselves to become a eunuch. Now, this is just something most likely the false priest had established what a eunuch is and not having anything in the law. And they were more or less supposed to be they not marry, and because they can't have children, and the whole purpose of marrying is to pass on your land through your son. So they probably most likely made up their own laws, and Jesus is saying that these other things also happen. And but there is nothing in the Hebrew text of our Creator saying if you want to enter into heaven is to not have any balls. Well, the thing, male seeds, to enter into heaven, no, that was all based on forgiveness and to be unto him, unto our Creator, where you respect him, honor him, and obey him. So here we can see that these priests had made up this rule or a new tradition. And this is what Jesus is saying, that at this time this word was not for the sake, but for wanting to be in my kingdom in heaven. Who is not able to accept them, let them be accepted. So he's only talking about not shunning these men is what he's talking about. He's born are like that by our Creator. That's our Creator's will. You cannot. I get sick and tired of people when I hear people say, "Oh, she's so ugly," or "Look at that guy, he is so ugly." Our Creator made them, and who are you to judge like that? I mean, it's just something that you need to keep your mouth shut and understand our Creator created them this way. That's what between them and our Creator, okay? So I'm just saying that stop being so inconsiderate to your brothers and sisters. I don't care if they're from another race or whatever. It doesn't matter. You're just supposed to accept them because our Creator made them, okay? And here we have men doing it to other men, and also them doing it to themselves because they don't know that by these false teaching. Example, you right now, everybody on this earth thinks that there's 10 commandments. That's just crazy. Um, you all think that Jesus walked on water. That's just crazy. It's these guys changing the text to what they're writing for themselves. So, or for their God. And you got to understand that. So Jesus is just saying, accept him to be accepted among you as friends. But he also has to understand that he is to stay away from women. Okay. So, and by the way, well, anyways, let's get on here. Let's see. Okay. And then children were brought to him, not that he might lay, that for him to lay his hand on one to pray with them. See, then children were brought to him for him to lay his hand on one to pray with them. Okay. So he was, there, that's better. For him to lay his hand on and pray with them. Let's look at this. Have this. And that's something that to petition is to ask for something. A prayer is to have this one-on-one with with our Creator. Prayer with Bill, and a prayer on and pray with. I don't like that. That's just not truthful. I don't see Jesus talking one-on-one with our Creator and each of the children doing individually as well as a group. I don't see that. I see it like that. Okay. To lay his hands on. But a disciple stopped them, not the disciples stopped them. They didn't rebuke them. They stopped them, kind of like, don't come near Jesus, okay? Putting out their hands saying, stop where you're at. And Jesus told them, do not stop them, hinder them, stop them, because they were stopping them from coming to him. because Jesus is going to say, because my kingdom in heaven exists for them, uh, not belongs to them, exists for them. Um, Here, the word belongs is not used correctly. Let me see here. And I better remember to bring it back into this here, but this is light till better here. It's not virtual. And, oh boy, we have quite a bit here. This is one of those words that you kind of wonder how deceiving they are and making up all these other words. Belongs, consist, do, falls, happens, had, and that's just not, that's not all. How many do they have? In all these words as well. And I'm not saying my word here exists. Oh, there it is. Yes, right down here. Oops, right here. So, exists for them is better than the words that they had there. Because there's so many children that are abused, and you have to understand, it's not like today where we have an abundance of things. Even in the countries today, some children are put to work and are to toil and work all day long. Um, uh, so it's kind of like um, they're being abused, and this is what Jesus is saying. It wasn't their fault for them being abused because others were doing it to you, and that your life is being lived that you don't believe in our Creator. So this is what I'm seeing as why Jesus is saying his kingdom exists for them. Um, and this was probably our Creator knowing everything. I can see that this would have been something that, uh, because Jesus says before the foundation of the earth was made, um, he was. So I can see that uh, at that time before the earth was made or even the universe, our Creator was telling them about why Jesus' kingdom in heaven is going to exist, and it's for the very young being um, abused by others, and they're going to get a rest because they didn't deserve what was being given to them by others to force them to live um, a life that um, they don't believe a creator exists. So after he prayed with them, he departed. And since I got rid of that, I got to get rid of this here. And then after and oops, and I'll well, they got the word to, but I'm just going to get rid of this. After laying his hands on them, he departed from there. Doesn't need that. It's already here. He departed. So I need this down here. And I'm going to call this the end of this video as well. So then we're going to get in. Now, how did I just do that? This wheel, I fixed it, isn't running all over the place. Found that button to do that. But we're going to get into this text later for the next video. Other than that, join me in the next video and learn a little bit more.